Hey everybody, Quantum back here again with another Go Battle League video, and today we're going to be summarizing my run to rank 10 in Season 3. We actually hit rank 10 in 145 wins, 215 battles. We made the leaderboard with 150 wins and 220 total battles in a streak of 27. You can see there, it's probably the lowest number of battles on the leaderboard, which I'm pretty proud of. It was quite a grind, despite us playing a low number of matches. I only played Master Premier to get to rank 10, and I'm going to showcase for you the team that I use. You can see on the screen there, Magnezone, Gyarados, and Snorlax, and we're going to go through some of the matches and how we played through and gained some success with this team. So we're going to start with the road to rank 10, and we're starting off at around the 2750-ish rating, or I think it was 2730 on the screen there. And this is when there was still 2 weeks left in the Go Battle League, so it was a little hard to find matches once you got a little higher up in the MMR until Niantic adjusted the ratings, I think, for like the final week. But you're going to see the progression of how we learn to play this team and how the matchups go. Master Premier is very random, I guess you could say, because there's such hard checks to the meta. For example, if you run into a Garchomp lead running a Magnezone, it's very difficult for you to come back and win that match. If you run into a Togekiss with a Garchomp lead, it's very hard for you to come back in that match, simply because those Pokemon are completely walled off and they're basically dead weight on your team if the opponent can maintain switch. So because of that, it's very hard for you to win matches from negative leads in the Master Premier. That being said, it's also very hard for you to lose matches where you have a positive lead. So the purpose of this team was actually based around losing the lead. The purpose of this team and the 2 safe swaps in the back is basically to try to win back switch advantage, and it plays on one particular core thing in the meta, and that is that everybody and their mothers are running Metagross on their teams. And Snorlax and Gyarados both have positive matchups against Metagross, so that means that you can likely win back switch at some point in the match. The purpose of using Magnezone in the lead is exploiting the power of Wild Charge. Wild Charge is such a broken move. The more you can recycle it, as long as you don't run into a ground type obviously, the more powerful this team becomes. So this first match that I played, I know I didn't commentate over it, but we're able to win it, and we technically misplayed it. But I'm going to go into the second match where we have a positive lead and show you how you can royally screw up. So the opponent switches in Metagross. First mistake, I don't throw the Wild Charge. When the opponent switches in Metagross, you should definitely keep the Magnezone in and throw the Wild Charge. Metagross on Magnezone is an extremely positive matchup for Magnezone. Second mistake I make is I swap into Gyarados. Again, if I would have thrown the Wild Charge, either I would have got a shield or got the Metagross very low and was able to maintain switch. You want to switch in Snorlax against Metagross, and the reason is because you need the Gyarados on the team to line up with the opponent's potential Dragon in the back. If the opponent has a Garchomp in the back, this match is over, I've already lost. If the opponent has a Dragonite in the back, very hard to come back from. It's still doable because Magnezone has play against Dragonite, where it has no play against Garchomp, but Snorlax has no play against Dragonite and almost no play against Garchomp either. It has, I guess I shouldn't say no play. It has some play, but it has losing matchups. So you're not going to be able to take out the opponent's Dragon type in the back, and then Magnezone is going to struggle to kind of clean it up, especially if it's a Garchomp. Magnezone can virtually do nothing in that scenario. So, just like I said, the opponent does have a Garchomp in the back. Now our Snorlax, instead of being lined up against the Metagross, where it had a much better matchup, the Snorlax is lined up against the Garchomp. And at this stage, there's not too much we can do. I probably should have shielded one of those to try to salvage the match, because now in this situation, nothing we can do. It's a lost cause. If we would have had the Gyarados in this situation, we would have won this match easily. And you're going to see us run into this specific team comp again and again if you watch any of my other videos or any of the videos that I will post going up to rank 10, because this will just be part 1. But we overcome this same team comp easily in future matchups, because we take this match and we learn from it, and we know that we need to save our Gyarados. We still actually make a few misplays in future matches using our Gyarados when we shouldn't, but you know, these are top players as well. They know what they're doing. All of these players that I'm facing up against, I think, also pretty much made the leaderboard at the end of Season 3. So, you know, these are really good players, and small mistakes are going to cost you matches, even on positive leads. Alright, so in this next matchup here, we're met with the Metagross, and this is really good for us. Like I said, this is the scenario Magnezone wants to see. You technically always want to shield the first one, because you can't risk getting an Earthquake, even though 99% of the time it's going to be a Meteor Mash. But building up to 2 Wild Charges, the opponent is very unlikely to burn their second shield. They will likely shield one, but if you're able to get through the Wild Charge, it does so much damage to Metagross, you can usually switch in the Snorlax to finish it off. The opponent opts to give up Switch as well and switch in a Magnezone against the Snorlax, and we go straight for the nuke, and it one-shots the Magnezone. So at this stage, this match is over. Snorlax can finish off the weakened Metagross and the Togekiss. It has positive matchups against both. Gyarados has positive matchups, or relatively positive matchups against the Togekiss, despite it having Dragon Breath, and obviously a very positive matchup against the Metagross. And our Magnezone has positive matchups against Metagross and Togekiss as well. So you can see that this team, despite it having very neutral matchups, or very safe swap matchups with Gyarados and Snorlax, it does still beat a lot of the meta. You just have to watch out for the alignment. That's the only thing you have to really watch out for, because another major weakness of this team is counter users. And counter users, walls off Magnezone to a certain degree and Snorlax. So they are very difficult to deal with, but if you watch my past videos, we've been able to deal with those effectively. Alright, going up in this next match, I think this is match number 4 against Peter. I think this guy actually finished on the first page of the leaderboards. And look at this team, leading with Snorlax. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to fire off our Wild Charge immediately, because we don't want any of that superpower smoke to land on our Magnezone. And I make a mistake here, because again, I switch into my Gyarados. If the opponent has a Garchomp in the back, this is bad news for us. At this stage though, they're not going to throw superpowers, obviously. They're going to rock out the Body Slams, and they have back-to-back Body Slams. So we don't shield anything. If it was a Skull Bash, it would have got the Gyarados very low. But they swap into their Metagross, most likely anticipating to farm down and leave this matchup now with a lot of energy. So we're actually going to go straight for the Crunch, but they do end up shielding. So they're the first ones to burn a shield, and they realize that we're going to get to a second charge move, and instead of taking the damage or burning their second shield, they're opting to throw some of their energy. So this actually turned out really, really good for us. And this is probably a misplay from the opponent. They should have just committed to the farm down and taken the damage, knowing that we couldn't get to another Crunch. Because at this stage, I'm going to match them on shields. Oh my gosh, I don't. I definitely should have matched them on shields, but I called the Meteor Mash. You don't want to take that risk. I should have just called them on the shield. At this stage, I'm going to have to shield though, because the Meteor Mash will take me very low. But now that we're virtually at 2 Wild Charges, we're going to start to fire these off and look to finish off the Metagross. The opponent has no real reason to shield, because they've got off their energy on the Metagross. And look at this. Just like I said, they have a Garchomp in the back. So this is not good for us at all. But because we're able to land a little bit of the chip damage and the mirror shot on the Garchomp, we're able to actually get to some of these Body Slams quite quickly. And at this stage, we have to kind of make the calls as to what's an Outrage. And this time we do shield up the Outrage, thankfully, and this gives us a little bit more play. The opponent should recognize that they need to save their Garchomp, and they do, because they commit their second shield here. At this stage though, the opponent will need to throw 2 charge moves, either a Sand Tomb and Outrage, or 2 Outrages to finish us off, or opt to switch out of this matchup to preserve their Garchomp so that it can line up against the Magnezone. They don't do that, we're able to finish off the Garchomp with the Snorlax, and then it's basically a wrap, given that their Snorlax is so low. Very risky play on my part. Again, another reason why you need to make sure you keep that Gyarados in the back if you're running this team. So we actually do 2 and 3 there in that set. So not good at all, but we're able to still maintain around a 2800 rating. Alright, going into this next matchup, met with a Garchomp lead. Very, very tough lead to deal with. What I usually like to do is that if the opponent stays in, it likely means they're going for the Outrage to gain an advantage on the secondary matchup. Lo and behold, they switch in their Metagross. This is exactly what we want to see, because now we're going to fire off this Earthquake and win back switch. So this is great, right? We're going to be able to avoid lining up the Magnezone against the Garchomp, because we were able to win switch, and we should have this match no problem. The issue though is that they have something that unfortunately can still walls off Magnezone to a certain degree. So they opt to bring back in their Garchomp, and I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm just going to get off extra damage on this Garchomp, take it really low, so Gyarados is going to come in and just Dragon Breath it down. and easily take this match, no problem. So we're not going to commit any shields here because we're already down a shield, and this actually is a negative for us because the opponent being up 2 shields here, I should have committed the second shield to block this outrage, but because I don't know what the Pokemon in the back is, I didn't, and it's a Mamoswine. So the opponent is running double ground, and this basically means, especially with the opponent up 2 shields to 1, the Magnezone almost has no play here. I could have shielded this, but the opponent just would have double shielded my Mirror Shots anyways and got to another Bulldoze. So with my Gyarados as low as it is right now, my 1 shield isn't going to make any difference. The opponent can easily shield up whatever we throw, and they're just going to Frost Breath us down. Or sorry, not Frost Breath, Powder Snow us down with the Mamoswine. So very, very hard counter team to ours there. We were able to go 3-2 in that set, so at least we went positive. But I think that was Yonkas's team, and when you're going up against a team like that, I don't think there's too much play with my team, because even if you are able to win switch, even if you are able to realign the Pokemon, unless you can line up the Magnezone against the Metagross, which is very unlikely, you're going to likely lose that match. So we're at the almost 2,900 ratings at this point, and I think I have 2 more matches in this part 1 of this video, and at this point the queue times are fairly long, so I think for the next set of matches I'm not really recording me looking for the match, I'm just recording it as I get a match. So I don't think you're going to be able to see the people that we go up against, because by the time the screen starts recording, we're already in the match. Anyways, this matchup, another negative lead in the Swampert. So Swampert does hard counter Magnezone, but Magnezone still has some play because those wild charges will still do 30% to the Swampert if you can land them. So we swap into our Snorlax because again we want to preserve our Gyarados, and the opponent has another hard check to the Snorlax in the Dragonite. So we're going to lose the secondary matchup. Even if we commit shields here, the opponent can just match our shields and still maintain switch. So we have to come up with an alternative game plan. And what we're going to basically do here is purposely go down and bring in the Magnezone to farm energy on the Dragonite. Because like I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to look to fire off some wild charges and get some damage in on the Swampert when it comes back in. Completely farm down. We almost have 2 wild charges built up. No point in shielding this Magnezone because it's taking double super effective from the Mud Shots. And we want to preserve both of our shields for the Gyarados sweep. Gyarados, definitely the MVP of Season 3 in Master Premier. We shield up the Sludge Wave, that was pretty huge. And the opponent brings in a Metagross. Again, Gyarados has so much play against the Swampert and the Metagross, so this is basically our ace in the back. And the opponent opts to shield the first one, that's really good. So they're probably not thinking that we're going to be able to get to a crunch so quickly after just throwing the Aqua Tail, so they don't shield the second move. And at this stage, we're very close to Dragon Breathing down. Are we going to shield this? Yes, we are, but the opponent is most likely going to get to a second Meteor Mash. They are able to do that. But at this stage, we can easily farm down the Metagross, and we win CMP against the Swampert if they have a charge move banked. So they opt to make the quick swap, and we're very quick on firing off our Aqua Tail. We almost have 2 Aqua Tails back to back ready to go. We burn the second shield, and we throw the second Aqua Tail. The opponent was likely energy dry from throwing the Sludge Wave, but you can see Gyarados just sweep the back line, thanks to Magnezone softening up the Swampert with the Wild Charge. So we're able to come back from an insanely negative lead and take that match thanks to committing both of our shields to the Gyarados for the sweep in the back. Final match here, we're up against a Togekiss lead, so let's see how we play this one, because we botched the last Togekiss lead in this video. The opponent, just like last time, switches in a Metagross, and this time around we actually opt to throw the Wild Charge before we switch out, and we get a shield. So this is great, we're up shield advantage, and this is technically a mistake on my opponent's part. Because I let this Meteor Mash go through, the opponent could have potentially shielded here if they thought we were going for a nuke move and just farmed us down, but the risk is that if we threw a Body Slam, we would have just thrown another Body Slam and licked down the opponent anyways before they were able to bullet punch us down. So it puts the opponent in a rough situation, and we're able to maintain switch. And we're up a shield, so we're in a really positive position here, and we have our Gyarados in the back in case they have a Dragonite or a Garchomp. So we're able to line up the Magnezone with the Togekiss still. I was counting moves, so I knew this was just an Ancient Power. look at this. The opponent does indeed have a Garchomp in the back. Same team comp that we faced earlier, but the difference is this time we have the answer. We're up a shield, we have the Gyarados, we have those Dragon Breaths doing super effective against the Garchomp, and now we're going to be able to fire off these Aqua Tails. Now we're up two shields to 0. No point in shielding this first one, even if it's an Outrage. We will shield the second one, but it does end up being a Sand Tomb bait. Perfect. We will shield this one up because if it is an Outrage, it will get us very low. But even if it's a Sand Tomb, I'm going to shield it anyways because I can't take the risk. Because at this point, the match is pretty much over. The opponent burned all the energy on the Togekiss. The switch timer is almost up, so they're not going to be able to farm down our Gyarados very much because we're just going to switch into the Magnezone as soon as the Togekiss comes back in. That does happen, and the opponent just leaves the match. So that's part 1, guys. Stay tuned for part 2. It's pretty crazy what happens. But thanks for watching. Quantum is out.